Welcome to today's doubleheader. First match, the SAVOUGE Aesthetic Spin Doctors versus the CRISS King Crunchers live here inside the Paco Arena. You're in for a treat as both squads just came from huge wins. The Spin Doctors on a roll with 2 straight wins after defeating UST, showing maturity not just in skills but also in mindset. Their opponent, the Invitational Bandit-led squad, the CRISS King Crunchers, with a boosted morale after handing the Signal Super Spikers their first loss of the conference. The bronze and silver medalists or placers from last conference meet again, and this time we wonder, how's it going down today? Only here where power meets passion. Spikers turn.
Welcome to the Paco Arena in Manila City for your 2025 Spikers Turf Invitational Conference. For this Wednesday doubleheader, we have our SAVOUGE Spin Doctors going up against the CRISS King Crunchers for our first match. All happening on One Sports Plus and on Pilipinas Live. As mentioned, the game at hand, it'll be SAVOUGE versus CRISS at 4 p.m. And later on, we'll be followed by Signal versus Navy. Good day to all our viewers on One Sports Plus and on Pilipinas Live. Thank you for joining us this Wednesday for another volleyball treat for you guys. Dip Bianco alongside Anne Remulla Canda. Anne, almost 2 weeks of volleyball action, and we're so excited to bring the matches to our viewers once again.
Of course, it keeps on getting exciting as we go deeper into the tournament. Mamaya pag-uusapan natin ang pinaglalaban ng ating mga teams.
Sabi nga ni Denise, both teams coming off wins. Let's take a look at the team standings of where they are at right now. For CRISS, still unblemished at the top, and then for SAVOUGE at the top half of the team standings as well with their most recent win.
But you know, they do find themselves sandwiched in between teams with the same win and loss record at 2-1, and we know that it is important that because only the top 4 teams will actually make it out of the preliminary round and into the semifinals, where they will be joined by 2 foreign guest teams.
That's the exciting part about this tournament, right? Those 2 guest teams will join us after the 4 teams have advanced to the next round. Let's talk about the SAVOUGE Aesthetic Spin Doctors. In their last outing, they defeated UST Gameville Golden Spikers in 4 sets. That's also happened here in Paco Arena. We'll see the numbers in just a bit, but the highlights of what happened there for SAVOUGE. Of course, we know that UST is a tough contender who wants to do well in preparation for their UAAP tournament next season.
You know, I had the honor of covering one of the games also of the Spin Doctors up against FEU naman. But let's talk about the stats of that game against UST, where we see SAVOUGE actually scored less when it came to offense, but they did show their strength when it comes to blocking. They scored 9 block points in that match, and they did also benefit from the errors of UST in that game. They gave up 36 errors in that match. But I think for today, Dip, one of the things that the Spin Doctors really need to improve on is their service reception. UST scored 7 aces in that game, and today they will be facing a very strong serving team in CRISS.
Oh, we'll find out if they'll be able to make those adjustments against a powerhouse team. But one guy that will lead the charge for them for sure is number 22, Raymark Betko, versus UST Gameville. We'll see the numbers he produced. Double digits for the man out of CSB, and he is ready to pounce once again for SAVOUGE Aesthetics.
You know, I think blazing hot is the best way to describe it because he did miss out the first match of this conference, and when he came in hot, and he really delivered. He dropped 21 points against their match against FEU, and really great numbers again in their match against UST. 20 points for this guy over here, and I think, you know, that sets up the bar high. We expect nothing less from him today as well.
And we always like hearing or seeing new faces for different teams, and he's a guy to watch out for the Spin Doctors. Lipan tayo sa kabila for the Crisscross King Crunchers in their last match as well. A big one against the Signal Super Spikers, winning that in 4 sets. We'll see the numbers and highlights in just a bit. But obviously, whenever they face each other, and inaabangan yan ng ating fans here in the Spikers turf.
Oh, definitely, because we know that we're in for a good matchup. But again, you know, in that match, it was Crisscross taking home the win. Even in the set they lost, it was really clear, no, that ultimately they overwhelmed Signal. They had some lapses in that match, as we can see the numbers here, the stats in that game, but it's very close. I mean, you know, it could have gone either way if you look at the different skill departments. But again, we go back to the biggest difference. You'll see the stats on the errors. It is the Super Spikers giving up 28 errors in that match.
So again, glaring part of their game right there is something that we will look forward to in this match. And of course, who can forget about 3-time MVP here in the Spikers turf in his usual form? Jude Garcia has been a total beast in the Invitational Conference.
You know, a lot of people were wondering because it was a quiet start for this guy, but you know, he really came alive. And what a fitting time for him to come alive in their game against their rivals. And he did very well when it comes to offense. Looking at his numbers, 24 points. But I think one of the things that makes this even better, no, shows how experienced he is as an attacker, is that he only gave up 2 errors from attacks. And 59% attack efficiency, wonderful numbers from this guy.
Very impressive for Jude Garcia. So of course, we want you to react over on social media and our Spikers Surf social media. So go ahead and tweet us or post on X, post on Facebook. Use the hashtag SpikersTurf2025 as we turn you over to the arena announcer for the start of this match.
Meets passion. This is match number 13 of the preliminary round for the 2025 Invitational Conference. The matchup between the SAVOUGE Aesthetic Spin Doctors and their opponents, the Crisscross King Crunchers. Introducing the 2 national referees officiating this match. Our first referee is Ryan Vincent Corpus. Second referee, Joffer Educado. Let's now meet the starters. First, for the SAVOUGE Aesthetic Spin Doctors. Outside spiker number 1, Shawi Caritativo. Middle blocker number 4, Gilles Torres. Outside spiker number 6, Mark Calado. Center number 11, JC Narciso. Middle blocker number 20, Jello Reyes. And opposite hitter number 22, Raymark Petco. Starting libero is number 5, Rico Marmeto. The head coach for SAVOUGE is Sidney Calderon. And now the starters for the Crisscross King Crunchers. Outside spiker number 2, Jaron Riquinton. Middle blocker number 4, Kim Malapunga. Opposite hitter number 5, Jude Garcia. Center number 9, Adrian Villadatos. Outside spiker number 19, Noel Campton. And middle blocker number 24, Popoy Colinares. Starting libero is number 18, John Philip Pepito. The head coach for Crisscross is Anusorn Tai Buntit.
We're all set for the matchup between the Crisscross King Crunchers and the SAVOUGE Aesthetic Spin Doctors. First off, the lineup For the Spin Doctors, Betco, Torres, Caritativo, Calado, Reyes, Narciso, and Marmeto as their libero. Meanwhile, for the King Crunchers, you have Garcia, Colinares, Requinton, Captain, Malabunga, Villados, and Pepito as their libero. So we're ready to go here. Both teams coming off wins in their previous matches. For Crisscross, staying undefeated at 3-0. That biggest win against the Signal Super Spikers. Meanwhile, for SAVOUGE, bouncing back with a victory over UST Gameville. Well, thank you for joining us on One Sports Plus and on Pilipinas Live Dip Bianco with Henry Mulyacanda and Denise Valdesancho to cover this one. We talked about the numbers and what SAVOUGE needs to improve in this game against a tough team. And Jaron Requinton gets us going with the first point.
We expect nothing less, but you know, a strong offense here from the King Crunchers. I think for both teams, they recognize how important it is to start off aggressive.
Jaron has always been that high energy guy for Crisscross. That point awarded to the King Crunchers. However, a quick challenge here for SAVOUGE for a block touch. Well, we'll see what the result will be. This is an early challenge, which just goes to show how they're treating this game. Sila Coach Sidney and the rest of the Spin Doctors. And
I guess, you know, we go back to the team standings that we shared earlier. This is a very important match for the Spin Doctors. They want to break away from that 2-1 tie. As we look at that replay.
malayo.
Malayo.
And I think after also na-challenge na kasi, but when Coach Sidney looked at her players, they were also saying there was no touch. So they lose one challenge immediately. And that'll be 2 quick points for the King Crunchers here in our opening set. Let's see what the Black Shirts will do. A block. So you've seen points from the attacking, defense, and off an error. And that's 3 now for the King Crunchers.
For the Spin Doctors, they have been receiving well so far, at least in the early part of set number 1. Pero basang-basa ng blockers ng Crisscross.
Yeah. Nakalusot that time around on the second try, and Caritativo puts SAVOUGE on the board with their first point. SAVOUGE dropping their first game in our tournament when they lost to Alpha Insurance in 4 sets. Bouncing back with a win against FEU and then UST. So that's 2 straight wins now for them. Meanwhile, Crisscross, before winning against Signal, they beat Navy and DNS. Requinton coming off a 14-point performance.
Ooh.
That one is out though for Calado. You know his caliber, but that time around it just doesn't go in for Mark.
2 attack errors already for the Spin Doctors.
Four-point lead now for Crisscross. One hand set. Nice play by Narciso to feed Torres.
Now this is a good one. Only 1 blocker right there. What's been tough for the Spin Doctors is if they have higher sets to the wing spikers, and the blockers of Crisscross are there to man them at the net.
And that's a big lineup for
Crisscross.
Captain will get that point for Crisscross. That's another middle play going to Reyes this time. Reyes coming from the University of the East program in the UAAP. Now with the Spin Doctors. Free ball. And Calado takes care of it just like that. The lead is down to 2. The chase, Campton with a bit of delay, but that is way under the ball. And it goes out, so that's 3 straight points for SAVOUGE.
Just what they need. Earlier, they've been scoring points, pero pa isa-isa. They need a string of points right here to be able to catch up, but they give that one up, a service error.
Raymar Petco, the guy we talked about, was probably expected to produce the same numbers that he did in their game against UST Gameville.
But again, you know, he is still very young.
Yeah, bata pa.
Oh.
Sophomore sa
Yeah.
CSB. Whoa, that's a strong hit. Speaking of making up for his mistake earlier.
He's probably saying, "You're talking about me?"
Look at that.
This from the back. You know, he isn't one of the tallest, but he leaps very high and has very good form on attack.
Calado commits a service error. That brings us to the first technical timeout. Crisscross up by 2.
You're still watching the Spikers Turf Invitational Conference 2025. We are live here inside the Paco Arena in Manila. And this is the match of the SAVOUGE Spin Doctors against Crisscross King Crunchers for set 1. Dip, and historically speaking, matches of the Spin Doctors and King Crunchers have always been dealt in 5 sets. But what changed for this conference? In my conversation with SAVOUGE head coach Sidney Calderon, wala naman daw silang dapat ika-pressure today bilang challengers. Mas kinabahan pa nga raw sila when they faced the past 2 collegiate teams at EU and UST. And if anything, her team embodied more maturity as the games go by. For coach Ty Bundit, there's no room for complacency even though the King Crunchers recently beat Signal. And we will be expecting more from them as more players are back after recovering from flu, namely Isay Marasigan and Rex Ental. Deb and both squads are now locked and loaded. Back to set 1.
Thanks, Denise, for that report. For SAVOUGE, that report mentioning that their previous matches have been or have gone to 5 sets. However, it's been one-sided as well. No, Crisscross has won the matches. But again, the Spin Doctors are a fairly new team in our league, yet they are challenging one of the top teams in Spikers Turf.
And I think, you know, that is something that really matters. What kind of quality game you're able to deliver? Are you giving your opponents a difficult time?
Yeah. And imagine what that would do for their confidence once they get over the hump and actually get a win over the King Crunchers. Right now, they're doing a good job of sticking close, only down by a single point here in the opening set. But that serve goes wide. And Narciso couldn't keep it in. So back to a couple points of lead.
3 service errors right now for the Spin Doctors.
Villados with a serve in. That is... Well, Garcia was ready for that, just couldn't keep it in off the block, and a point for SAVOUGE. Reaching beyond the net, called on Villados. That means we are tied at 10. Garcia. And Narciso was there. Right place, just couldn't get it properly, so a point for crisscross. It's really the errors, though, that we will have to keep count. I think a lot of the points of crisscross have come from errors.
Oh, yeah. Correcting myself, SAVOUGE already with 5 errors. King Crunchers with 2 here in this set.
And Gilles Torres has really done well here with the Spin Doctors ever since he has transferred, given the spotlight under Coach Sidney, and he has actually won an award already here in the Spikers Turf last year in the Invitationals as well as the second best middle blocker.
Oh, that was very close.
And Campton trying to avoid a foot fault.
But his body, I think, touched the net. That was a tough set.
So now lead swings to SAVOUGE here in set number 1. And Torres will be continuing to serve. However, that one is wide.
If last time, the problem in their last match, the problem was service reception, I think this time around, it is their serves.
Yeah, actual serves naman. Oh, Preliminaries with a nice dig. And the attack turned into a point by Jude Garcia. The SAVOUGE calls for time after this play.
For 14-12. Okay? Guys, remind ko lang sa inyo ulit, discipline tayo. Tingnan nyo, nakakapatay tayo, hindi naman tayo natatambakan. Nakakahabol tayo kaagad. Huwag na natin pahirapan yung team natin. Ha? Gawin natin. Jello, wag ka mag-wave.
Timeout called by the Spin Doctors, and if you heard the huddle by Coach Sidney, and she was saying that, you know, they're sticking close, kaya naman nila, so they have to be wary of those simple mistakes that they're committing.
Right now, we did talk about the service errors. They have 4 service errors, 5 errors in total for this match. But the King Crunchers have kept it to a minimum.
Garcia with back-to-back points. One before the timeout, and then coming off that break. And that last game really doing well for his confidence. As you mentioned, and slow start for him this tournament. But then remembering what he is capable of with those 24 points.
While Betko here saying, you gotta remember me with this.
Those attacks have been lethal coming from Betko.
13 serving 14 with Raymond Betko serving.
He will have to work from the back. Although we saw him earlier contribute earlier the back row. And again, a service error for the Spin Doctors.
15 serving 13.
You know, if they look at the stats after this game, siguro manghihinayang sila if they see, you know, they could have probably they could probably take the lead
Yeah.
if not for those service errors.
A lot of it here in the first set. And Narciso will toss. Calado is red. But that won't be inside. Off the block and a point for Mark Calado. Chance now for SAVOUGE to tie it up, but no entry, says Captain Ed Malabunga. And that brings us to the second technical timeout. Crisscross up by 2.
My top 5 is Kuya Mark, Espejo, kasi syempre kilala naman natin si Kuya Mark, magdi-deliver at magdi-deliver talaga siya. Next is si Kuya Jude. Makikita mo talaga yung mga power hits niya. Next is si Benny Ceballos, kasi sobrang nakaka-amaze yung mga highlights niya. Next, si Josh Ibanez, kasi gusto ko yung hype niya sa loob ng court and the way siya maglaro. And last, Kuya Brian Bagunas.
Back here in Paco Arena for your 2025 Spikers Turf Invitational Conference. That last sequence was the rejection from the King Crunchers, denying Betco. (16 serving 14). Narciso sets up the play. And Caritativo does the rest.
You knew that he wanted that point. Just take a look at that approach. And the blockers, also the big gap in between the two of them.
Medyo naging quiet no, after his first point at the start of the match. Chelo Reyes now serving 15-16. Viliados. That's the luxury of having a tall Kim Malabunga.
Abot-abot na lang eh, but you know, still manages to get that point.
Solo blocker from SAVOUGE won't cut it. Back to a 2-point game. Doesn't really connect there. Requinton on the other side. Off the hands of Betco, and that's straight points, 2 straight points for the King Crunchers.
Just so much material here on the side of the King Crunchers.
Calado dug by Malabunga. Steady hands.
Ooh, triple block.
Covered. Chance. Regalo. And Caritativo takes care of it.
Well, Requinton has scored quite a number of points today. And so we're not surprised kung babantayan siya ng tatlong tao right there at the net.
Nilipat muna sa kabila. Right back, courtesy of Jude Garcia.
You know, very impressive numbers. We were talking about him on top of the coverage. Almost 59% in terms of attack efficiency. He only had 2 attack errors. Just imagine that.
That's going to be a point for the Spin Doctors. Now is looking at the center. Right before the set in Narciso, coaching staff of Crisscross was pointing out the possible foot fault, but nonetheless point awarded to the Spin Doctors.
Ooh.
Nalunod.
No. Poor connection between Colinares. Actually, hindi siya nakapag-adjust, ano? It happens to the best of them.
18 serving 19.
And again, the free ball. Torres ties this game up. And it's 19 all here in set number 1. Tatawag ng timeout si Coach Taibon din.
Patience na, patience na.
One ball over, happy pay. Then get one point.
Smile lang, smile lang. Sabi nyo kanina, sabi nyo.
Hindi, okay lang yun. Hindi, okay lang si pare. Taas niya lang, ha?
Mabigat sila. Sige, kuya.
So, tataas lang natin ulit.
Ay,
Spiker.
Okay
lang. Compose lang ulit tayo, ha?
Kuya, relax lang. Layo pa yan.
Okay. Advantage.
Okay.
Multiple players chiming in that timeout. And what we heard was the heavy serves of SAVOUGE. What the assistant coach there, Paul Dolores, was talking about how they should receive. Iangat lang nila.
No, but for the Spin Doctors, you know that they will go for these strong serves because it is a way for them to break the plays as well of King Crunchers. Just like what happened there.
Lead now with the Spin Doctors late here in set number 1. Caritativo continues to serve 20-19. Better first ball. Villados back sets to Riquindon, ricochets. They need to give that ball up to avoid the violation of 4 touches. Same with SAVOUGE, ricocheting off of the attacker. Garcia flies in, still alive, play on, long rally alert. Sa gitna, binigay, and Colinares gets it done.
That was, I think, one of the longest rallies we've seen so far here in this match. And quality one, look at that save.
20 all here in the first set. SAVOUGE trying to get the lead back. There's a net violation, but on the side of the Spin Doctors. And they couldn't believe it.
They were already celebrating the point.
It might have been Torres. Oh, there you go. On that decoy, but just too close to the net. 21-20 in favor of CRISS. How will they respond? They go to Calado. Nakuha ni Villados the push. Second try for SAVOUGE. It goes for Betco.
Betco really very efficient right there. As an attacker, I mean, most of the sets that have been given to him, have been converted.
Substitution coming in for SAVOUGE as Hero Austria to serve, replacing Gilles Torres.
A familiar substitution we see from the Spin Doctors.
The captain now in the game after only playing in set number 4 of their previous match. And what a time for Hero's entry to get an ace. Oh, but CRISS challenging this. There's no specific challenge that could be directed for this, but the officials can replay it, and they do so.
Almost a point, though, for Austria.
They celebrated already itong SAVOUGE. I get why.
Looked like a point already.
And also to get the lead at this point of the match would have been huge for SAVOUGE. Play continues. Calado with a bullet. So this gives the lead officially to SAVOUGE. What a hit.
Oh, such a strong one.
Captain responds. Multiple deadlocks here in set number 1. And you can feel the intensity of both teams wanting to take the opener.
All of the hits really packing so much power.
Sinimplihan ni Calado. That doesn't work. On a stronger hit, this time off the block.
Feels like both teams will have a literal race to 20 unahan.
Malabunga frustrated that he couldn't angle his hands properly there. You can see his reaction.
And he was looking at the slow motion.
Yeah. Nanginayang siya doon. Imperial and Sanama will check in here for SAVOUGE on a double substitution. (23 serving 22). A stop here for SAVOUGE would be critical.
Ooh. Costly mistake.
But before they could even set up something, they needed that serve to go in. But the newly checked in Imperial couldn't get it. Still some cold hands. Meanwhile, Mark Espejo will be fielded in by Coach Tai along with Echo Adahar. So it's their turn to have a full front row. The service in, Imperial back sets. Betko, a touch from Captain Espejo. Just what the doctor ordered.
And that's a thing, ano, if you're put in, you have to play as warm as the rest of the team.
And Captain saving that ball. And then crisscross managing to turn it into a point thanks to Mark Espejo. A timeout called by SAVOUGE.
Isa lang yan. Kaya-kaya natin yan. Balik dalawa. Tara.
Timeout called by the Spin Doctors, who trail by a single point here in set number 1. And a trivia here in our Spiker Surf. Crisscross is the only team in the league that SAVOUGE have not beaten since they joined the league in 2024. So this is what we were talking about earlier. And bago pa lang yung Spin Doctors, although they might not have beaten Crisscross yet, pero dikit in mga laban nila against the King Crunchers. And they won't get the set 1 because of that block from the King Crunchers. Defense winning that one for Crisscross. Take a look at that play.
Double block.
I think it was Captain eventually. Nang hinayang si Marmeto, he didn't get that coverage. And we'll be back to talk about the first set after the break. Back here on One Sports Plus and on Pilipinas Live, as set 1 just finished. Crisscross winning that one over SAVOUGE. There were moments where it felt like SAVOUGE would take set 1, but in the end, well, we'll talk about what will haunt them moving forward.
You know, they were able to match up. We've seen some points where lumayo ng konti yung King Crunchers, but not by a lot. Nahabol naman, especially at the tail end of set number 1. They showed very good offense as well. We're talking about the Spin Doctors, but ultimately, I think here the King Crunchers just really solid in terms of composure. And you're right, it was ultimately defense letting them take that first set as we look at the numbers. And the numbers would tell us that even if the Spin Doctors actually scored more in offense, 13 lang yung sa King Crunchers, they scored 18 for the Spin Doctors because of the blocking. And when it happened in that last set, natulungan itong King Crunchers. But I think for the Spin Doctors, one of the things that they'll realize after this when they see the stats, they pretty much gave up 9 errors. 6 out of which was at the service line. So it's got to be painful.
We saw those even in the end, dun sa double substitution, right, with Imperial committing the service error. That was a big blow for them in set number 1. And then the defense of Crisscross just coming alive when they needed it the most to finish off set number 1. So that's how we end the first 25-23 in favor of the King Crunchers. We'll begin set number 2 in just a bit. Thank you for joining us on a Wednesday afternoon. 2 matches scheduled today at the Paco Arena. So if you have time to follow, we have one more game later. But Preliminaries with an emphatic kill to start set 2.
Both teams have performed well in the attacking front. 47% attack efficiency for the Spin Doctors. King Crunchers at 46.
That's out. Calado couldn't keep it in play.
Yeah, from where we're seated, we see NRC so actually calming them down. I think, coming from that loss, sometimes the tendency is may halong gigil. Because you really want to make a statement right away. You want to earn the points right away.
Flying from the back is Betko to put SAVOUGE on the board here in set number 2.
Betko, really reliable opposite hitter.
Speaking of the devil on their side.
7th service error for this match.
As much as possible, you want to limit those errors against an undefeated team who knows what it takes to win matches. Gilles Torres is back and scores for SAVOUGE. Viliados will go to the middle and Malabunga connects.
You know what's good so far though for both teams is that if you look at the scorers, there's not one that is really leading the pack. So it means that the distribution, the sets have been well distributed in set number 1. Halos pantay-pantay. They have a lot of options. That I think is the first service error for Crisscross here in this game. Oh, second rather.
Still though, that is impressive for them to limit yung kanilang service errors despite being aggressive. How about an ace? Delivered by Gilles Torres to tie things up at 4. goes for Jude Garcia.
Garcia, 5 points in this match.
Campton on deck to serve for Chris Cross. Oh, cross-court hit coming from Betko. Viliados sets up Requinton. Exchanging points here are the two teams in the second set.
Requinton started off set number 1 strong. He is currently at 50% attack efficiency. And this should be a good front line, front row for the King Crunchers.
Boy pa. Requinton again. Back set to Narciso, to Betko, that will go out. So back-to-back points here for the King Crunchers. And Malabunga couldn't send that over. Only a 1-point game here in set 2. Viliados with a 1-2. Doesn't work. Nabasa siya dun. Caritativo with a strong one. Boy pa. Another chance for the Spin Doctors. Back row hit. Good rally.
But for the Spin Doctors, they realize they have to keep it close and eventually take the lead. It's harder to play catch-up.
Requinton off the block. And you really like what you see from Jaron Requinton. The way he celebrates and reacts to each point. We go to the first technical timeout.
Welcome back. Set 2 of this match-up between the SAVOUGE Aesthetic Spin Doctors and the Crisscross King Crunchers live here inside the Paco Arena in Manila. Dip and Alas Pilipinas and international coach Jorge De Brito just graced the Taraflex, and he personally disclosed that he's here to scout players as the SEA Games in Thailand is underway. Fresh from Italy, Coach De Brito went straight here for possible prospects and will be watching the tournament before heading to Thailand. With the past run of the Alas Pilipinas in the FIVB Men's World Championships, the Italian coach admitted these opportunities do not come as much. And if we have more talents in local leagues such as the Spikers Turf, why not utilize them as this allows the local league to step up and increase the level of competitions it have. Back to set 2.
Thanks, Denise. There you go, Coach Angelino Frigoni of Alas Pilipinas Men. We saw him a lot in the World Championship, brought us to historic heights with a win in that tournament, and now he's here to witness more excellent volleyball players in our local scene.
And it's nice to see how the level is really going up, improving each and every time.
No, so binibisita niya siguro yung mga namimiss na niya.
Oo.
Diba? Sila Kim Malabunga,
Tingnan
Mark
natin.
Espejo.
Tingnan natin kung ano. Maganda pa rin ang... but they are playing very well.
Oo, baka di nila ina-apply yung mga tinuro ko eh. And so far, his players from CRISS have helped out. Requinton with another point for the King Crunchers, and now it's a 4-point lead. So slowly pulling away here in the second set. And Narciso goes to Caritativo.
I was gonna say, you know, for the Spin Doctors, they can't allow this lead to balloon any further because it will make the task of catching up a lot harder. And now, the rotation that the King Crunchers have, it is a strong front row.
Captain Doug, second try for the white shirts. Nilipat sa gitna. And Preliminaries with the hammer.
If you get good passing, it's nice because there are a lot of options right there. And these quick plays, high percentage para sa King Crunchers.
Balik sa apat ang abante. Set up job to Caritativo. And that will be a lifting violation called on SAVOUGE. This is now the biggest lead of CRISS in the game, which forces Coach Sydney Calderon to call for time.
Pag lalo natin minamadali makapuntos, mawawala tayo. Again, habaan natin yung pasensya. Habaan lang natin, guys. Patience, patience. Ha? Walang magmamadali sa mga ginagalaw natin. Again, dalawa doon lagi. May pipe ka. Pwede kang gumamit ng pipe or pwede ang middle. Middle, pag medyo diskarte, pwede tayong mag-hard tip. Ha? O tara, bawi tayo. Go, go, go!
Timeout called by the SAVOUGE Aesthetic Spin Doctors, who trail by 5.
And you know, the reminder seems simple. They were talking about patience, but it is true. No? You're coming from a loss in the previous set, and now you're playing catch up to your opponent. So sometimes mentally, it kind of messes with you.
Yeah.
Gusto mong makapuntos agad.
And you can see it dun sa mga atake ng SAVOUGE. Diba? Medyo may halong gigil na ngayon in the recent possessions. And now Toto De Pedro will replace Mark Calado. Maybe try and change the energy of the Spin Doctors, but to no avail as Boboy Colinares sends that one back. Or is it Captain who returned it to sender? Yeah, Colinares did the job. This is a huge advantage now for CRISS, 15-8. Back row ulit. And Betko getting his points once again from the back.
He's been quiet, but they need this point.
And you look at the blocking department now. CRISS already with 6 rejections as compared to none for SAVOUGE. Sumobra yung set na yun. Play on. Betko grazes the hands of a King Cruncher.
But they have to find a way to score the points. I think for the King Crunchers, the plays of the Spin Doctors, it has been predictable.
Yeah. Back-to-back points for SAVOUGE. Can they keep it up? Captain on the off-speed. Basang-basa. Three straight points for SAVOUGE to cut the lead down to 4.
You know, that was a good timeout earlier, a good reminder of how you need to be patient.
Oh, but Captain finding a way to score that point. That brings us to the second technical timeout.
Sa mga past season is nagpa-SAVOUGE na yung SAVOUGE. I think this season, ito talaga yung kumbaga all-out na performance ng SAVOUGE. Kasi talagang binigay talaga namin lahat dito sa preparation dito.
Back inside Paco Arena here in Manila City for your 2025 Spikers Turf Invitational Conference. Now on our second week of play. Earlier, at the top of the coverage, we talked about how this tournament would go. Top 4 teams after the elimination or preliminaries will advance to the next round or the semifinals, where 2 guest teams will join our local club team. So that one is something to look forward to, Anne.
Fresh teams, and you know, it is going to be the best of the best. We can say that.
And every time guests come to play in the Philippines, for sure, there's a different style of volleyball, different players that we have not encountered before. So that's good, always good.
And it's nice because we have one team from Japan, other team from Australia.
Ooh, that trickles. Boy pa. De Pedro. That's wide, and SAVOUGE will call for a challenge.
Well, I think De Pedro was saying wala.
Oo nga eh.
But they have called a challenge already.
Could be used as well as just to
time to give them a break.
break.
That's right. And we see Coach Sydney on the sideline giving a few reminders.
Well, let's see the result of this challenge for SAVOUGE. Yeah, no net fault. Clear as day, and point will stay with the King Crunchers.
King Crunchers able to maintain this comfortable lead.
(17-12). Garcia at the service line now at 7 points on 6 attacks and 1 block. It's a good serve for Jude Garcia. And an ace.
I mean, look at that serve. The effort of Betco to try and save that.
Captain. Down it goes for Noel Captain. Let's see that one more time. (19-12). Service error this time for Garcia.
chance for Torres.
Well, Austria now.
Austria now. This is a familiar substitution that they go for. We're talking about the Spin Doctors. Austria taking on the serve, providing support as well on the defense. Oh.
Good play for CRISS, setting up Kim Malabunga.
Looked very simple, but again, height is might. He got to see the opening on the other side. Oh, what a serve.
Chance once again. Oh, Villados. He was red. This time setting up Reguinton, who was also red.
Good net defense for the Spin Doctors. You know, they will need to find ways to score the points.
But again, the service errors of SAVOUGE, this time coming from Bitco. And that's how we will say it from now on, because according to him,
that is the correct pronunciation. So forgive us for not pronouncing it correctly.
Na full tayo ng letter E.
Oo.
Literal na letter E pala dapat. B.
Long
Bitco.
E.
1-2 play for Narciso. Works for the Spin Doctors. It's still up to 6 here. Nahabulin ng SAVOUGE.
Oh! Miscue.
Buti na lang nakuha pa ni Jude. But play on here. De Pedro is blocked. Caritativo will try to swipe, but it won't hit. Oh, Coach Tai.
Coach Tai unhappy. I feel like he's signaling merong wrong call, no?
Yeah. But nonetheless, point was given to CRISS, but you see him very adamant dun sa kanyang point. Captain, dug by De Pedro. Bitco will go up and score the point.
I think he's happy that we are saying his name correctly.
Yeah, tama, nagagalingan ko na.
Oh.
Kanina. Sino ba yun? Sabi niya.
You know, he's, again, we talk about how young he is.
Yeah.
Only on his second year, he didn't see much action in season 100 for College of St. Benilde. But, you know, with the performance we're seeing from him now, and I'm pretty sure he'll have a bigger role in the upcoming season.
And that's the experience you get, right? Playing in the Spikers turf against seasoned veterans who have had national team stints, international experience even, di ba, yung mga naglaro abroad. You go up against these guys. When you come back to your collegiate club, and all those times that you've played against them, magagamit mo yung learnings mo from that.
It's such a nice experience, playing with and playing against veterans.
I wonder what they would prefer though, playing with or playing against, no?
Hirap din nung against.
Oh, hirap.
But, you know, I'm sure they like the challenge.
Net fault. CRISS 2 points away from getting a 2-set advantage, but SAVOUGE still trying to save the second set. Villados will go to the middle. Soft touch for Colinares, doesn't work. A redo, nilipat kay Captain off the block. Third try, third time's the charm for Popoy Colinares. That puts CRISS at set point.
Just so many options right here for the King Crunchers.
I mean, Almendras only had a short stint. Yet if he stayed, I'm sure he would have had points as well.
Chance here for the Spin Doctors.
Ooh, dangerous there. And a net fault called on SAVOUGE, which gives Crisscross the final point for set number 2. And they now take this lead 2-0 over the Spin Doctors. 25-18.
It was a slower set,
Yeah.
no, for the Spin Doctors.
We'll talk more about the numbers and what went down in set number 2 right after the break.
Kumbaga, may healthy competition kayo sa team. So, kahit sino ipasok, magpe-perform talaga. At I hope na mas, lumabas lang yung pagiging matapang team. Yung maturity ba? Kasi for the past seasons, medyo kulang kasi nga gusto lang maglaro at di kami nag-expect. Pero ito, yung maturity at pagiging patient namin sa loob ng court.
Hindi na ako lalayo. Dito na ako sa team ko kukuha. Siyempre, number 1, si Shawi bilang our first outside hitter namin. And yung top 2, yan, si Mark Calado. Then, si Sanama na nagbabalik din ngayon sa team namin. And yung setter namin, si Vince Imperial. Pag naglalaro, yung decision making niya. And syempre, teammate ko din from UST pa before. And hanggang ngayon, si Charles Magpayo.
Right back here in Paco Arena for your 2025 Spikers Turf Invitational Conference. The Crisscross King Crunchers now up 2-0 over SAVOUGE Aesthetic Spin Doctors in a much more comfortable win in set 2. Lumayo sila dun early on, and let's talk about what you saw in set 2 as compared to the first set.
You know, I think for the King Crunchers, they were able to control the pace of that second set, especially when they pulled away, no? Napako sa 7 itong Spin Doctors, and they scored up to 11. And I think from that point on, confidence was just really different in terms of body language, in terms of we saw how they played around with the plays, literally. Talagang lahat got a hand on scoring a point. And they didn't just rely on, one player to give them the points in that set. As we look at the numbers, pretty close. Actually, if you look at the attacking department and the blocking department, as well as the service aces. But I think for the Spin Doctors, we go back to the number of errors still. No, I think that is what has been consistent with set number. Unfortunately, consistent, but not in a good way.
Yeah.
They need to be able to minimize this, lower the numbers down. Otherwise, it pretty much just offsets the points that they have scored, in that set.
See, the numbers don't lie here, which is why Crisscross are ahead by 2 sets over the Spin Doctors. Jules Torres and the rest of the guys. I don't think we've seen other players as well for the SAVOUGE Aesthetics. Gampong is there on the bench, along with other teammates. Leading scorers so far for both teams. Torres with 9. Jude Garcia leads the way with 8 points for CRISS, the 3-time MVP in the league.
But equally for the Spin Doctors, we have Vitco also with 9. Riquinton with 8 points as well. So
right there, they actually have multiple guys who are scoring for them. But again, that department that we've been talking about from the start of this match, yung errors talaga.
Errors talaga. But you know, again, I go back to what is good. No, if you look at the names that have scored, you have 5 players here for the Spin Doctors and 5 as well for the King Crunchers. So maganda yun because they're not heavily relying on just one person.
Now, moments away from the start of set number 3 here on One Sports Plus and on Pilipinas Live. Dip Yango, Henry Muliacanda, and Denise Valdesancho, your broadcast team for this one. At unang laro out of 2 on a Wednesday. Later on, we still have the next match to do. Stay tuned for that. As the Signal Super Spikers will go up against the PGJC Navy Sea Lions. Signal right now sitting at 2 wins and 1 loss. Meanwhile, for Navy, still searching for their first win of the tournament. So we're underway here in the 3rd set. De Pedro will attempt. Armeto with the bump again to Toto. That time it's out. Also, Hero Austria will begin set number 3 for SAVOUGE, team captain, hoping to lead their squad to extend this match.
Ooh, good change up there by Caritativo. And sometimes you don't need all power. In that case, that's what the Shawi showed us. We're talking about a different set of players for the Spin Doctors. Interesting to see how this will change the complexion of how they have been playing.
For CRISS, it's the same guys. For Coach Tai Bundit, don't fix it if it ain't broken. Austria, ito na yung kakaibang energy na dala ni Hero Austria.
But maybe this is what they need because they need to enjoy the game and, you know, kita natin yung energy also in that celebration.
Nag-ala Hero talaga. Akala ko lilipad na eh. Kulang na lang ng cape eh. 2-1.
Hintayin natin pag umapproach siya. Parang lilipad.
Oh, yun na naman. Back-to-back points for SAVOUGE. Thanks to Hero Austria. Ang worry ko, baka biglang mapagod si Hero eh.
Dahil doon sa takbo.
Oh.
But you know, he's had a good perspective watching from the sidelines earlier.
Correct.
So I think that's also one advantage.
Bitin yung set dun. Binigay ngayon kay Riquinton for CRISS. The scramble, a block for Colinares.
De Pedro also came in for a substitution earlier, but starting here in set number 3.
8 points for Jaren Riquinton. And Narciso goes to Austria.
Wow, she is. Look at that celebration. But he is bringing in the energy indeed. I mean, from blocking to attacking. No blocker right there as well.
4-2 in set number 3. Captain right into the chest of Caritativo. Nicolas, by the way, is also in the game for SAVOUGE, and the impact on that running attack.
And you know, actually, the collective impact of those who have been fielded in here in set number 3, not just the energy, it's also actually scoring the points and delivering.
How about a block from Dan Nicolas, announcing his entry into the game? Back-to-back points for him.
It's like they really want to make a statement. Everything that they have been doing on point.
3-point lead. Villados will set up Campton. Ball slowed down. Narciso looks at Austria. That will hit the antenna though. Four serving 6 here in set number 3.
Spin Doctors have to win this third set if they do want to extend this match. Better energy we're seeing here in set number 3.
De Pedro comes up short, so that's back-to-back points for CRISS.
And for the Spin Doctors, they need to protect this lead that they've built. Now it's just a 1-point lead. They have a chance to attack.
Binigyan ulit si Nicolas, this time red. Marmeto for the coverage. Austria is shut down. Not this time, says Kim Malabuma. Tied at 6. Oh, but a service error for Jude Garcia, I think, is second in the game.
You know that they really want to go for strong serves.
Yeah. Binabawi naman agad on the offensive end as Jude Garcia sends that one home. 7-all.
You know, he was attacking from the back. But parang parang galing sa net. That's how
Ganun
strong.
kalapit.
Oo, ganun kalapit. Ganun kalakas.
Combination to Caritativo. Ooh. And Guerrero was in the way. CRISS had to change their play. Nicolas, covered by De Pedro. Sa likod binigay. It's still playable. Long rally. But a whistle as someone touched the net. And guess what? SAVOUGE will bring us to the first technical timeout.
Back inside the Paco Arena here in Manila for the Spikers Turf Invitational Conference 2025 Set 3 of this matchup between the Crisscross King Punchers and the SAVOUGE Aesthetic Spin Doctors. Dip, And going back to my report earlier, Alas Pilipinas head coach Angelino Frigoni mentioned the increased level of competition of men's volleyball here in the country. And one inspired player is none other than spin doctor Raymark Bitco, who fired 20 points in their last match against UST. He told me hiningi niya raw daw talaga itong pagkakataon ito, and he asked for more playing time, and the youngest player of SAVOUGE did not put that to waste. With his first time facing the King Crunchers, he recalled playing against Kim Malabunga at only 10th grade, and he can't believe that he's now flying spikes and aces, this time as Malabunga's opponent. Back to you, Dip and Dan.
Thank you, Denise, for that report. Yun yung pinag-uusapan natin earlier, Anne, right? Bitco is one of those guys who looks back at his experience of playing against or with Kim Malabunga back in grade 10, pero ngayon, in a different stage, this is something that he will treasure.
Oh, yeah. But for now, I think for the Spin Doctors, they want to savor this lead they have over the King Crunchers. But sabi ni Riquiton, teka lang. This cannot be.
Tsaka memorable to as we take a look at this attack by Jaron Requinton. Memorable yan for Bitco kasi nakalaban ka ba naman ng multo kay Kim Malabunga, di ba?
Ng multo talaga, no?
Yun yung costume niya nung ano eh. Nung Halloween eh. Ayun na nga.
Multo talaga.
Oo. Nag-error on that serve. So back to a 2-point lead for the Spin Doctors. Ooh. Botched first ball by Campton. Nabasa si Torres, balik sa King Crunchers. Change of pace. Players scrambling. That is off the block and a point for Caritativo. But a challenge will be called by the King Crunchers for ball in or ball out. Let's see what the result will be right now. It's a 3-point lead for the Spin Doctors.
Ooh, it did touch the line. That was a good challenge.
It was that quick. So you needed to see that in a slower replay. Right now, it's only a 1-point game. A good serve. Chance now for CRISS to tie the game up. Requinton, does that drop? Nope.
Ooh.
And sinungkit ni Garcia.
And that's really dangerous. As we have a challenge.
I think Caritativo also got hit in the process. Reaching beyond ang itatawag na challenge dito ng SAVOUGE Aesthetics. Well, Jude Garcia is capable of flying high, and sabi nga natin yung back row niya parang nandun na siya sa front line, di ba?
As
That's close. That's close. I think part of that ball was right above the net. Wasn't entirely on the side of.
And we have Austria clarifying right now why it's called as such.
So unsuccessful challenge for the Spin Doctors. They lose one. And more importantly for CRISS, tabla na tayo at 10-all. After a slow start, they are right back in the game. Garcia looking to save that, but it drops outside. Lead back with the Spin Doctors.
And this is a good sign, because after that last challenge, Austria telling his teammates, bawi na lang tayo, bawi na lang.
Yeah.
They do so. I think that will be key here in set number 3. They need to be able to get a good advantage.
That's a wild spike coming from Jude Garcia.
Getting that advantage would be easier said than done. If you're up against the likes of Garcia.
Props to Caritativo for still getting a hand on that. Deadlock once again. Oh, but Jaron with a service error. Only a 1-point game here, but SAVOUGE dictating the scoring in set number 3. Torres. Short serve. So that's errors back-to-back for both teams.
First ball is the receive is short.
Yeah.
Oh, that's tough, but they keep it alive.
Yeah, still playable. And Garcia will finish that rally. And the lead swings back to the King Crunchers.
That's been tough for the Spin Doctors because there they just managed to keep the ball alive, but they lost the opportunity to set up a play.
De Pedro is blocked. Meet you upstairs, says Noel Campton, who celebrates that point. Mads Gampong will see action for the first time para sa SAVOUGE Aesthetics. Coach Sidney has had to draw a number of players off the bench to see who could give her that change up in the game. Garcia again. It goes.
That guy letting the King Crunchers lead here in this set. It's been very close.
Yeah. That's 4 straight points for Criss, which prompts Coach Sidney Calderon to call for a timeout.
Parang hiwa-hiwalay yung laro natin. Regroup lang tayo ulit.
Timeout called by the SAVOUGE Aesthetics. And we see Coach Angelina Frigoni. Even just watching, no, his mind is working for sure. Ang dami siyang naiisip, maybe seeing players that have the potential.
Meanwhile, another substitution here for the Spin Doctors.
Especially because we're about a month away from the SEA Games, diba? So also doing some scouting. Nicolas. Yeah, called in. And Nicolas out of the University of the Philippines has scored 3 points, I believe, in the match. And that's going to be an ace for Mads Gampong. What a time as he just came in dito sa set number 3. Waiting for his turn and delivering right when he is called. 14-15 now. Villados will feed Noel Captain. That brings us to the second technical timeout. Crisscross up by 2. Pinaka nakakatakot talaga dun. Sinasabi ko sa iyo, Ann, yung kay Kim. Yun yung tuwing gabi,
It will haunt you.
Bumabagabag. Nakakapagpapagabag.
Pero ang ganda rin na, you see the creativity in their choices.
Yeah. Eh,
Ng
Mr.
kanilang
Bean, no?
costume.
Dumaan eh.
Oo, dumaan si Mr. Bean.
Mr. Bean, Mr. Popoy Bean Colinares. Let's see Noel, the baby
Si
camp.
baby.
No? Big baby camp.
Big baby.
So we resume set number 3 with a solid spike from Dan Nicolas, who is keeping SAVOUGE within distance, only a 1-point game.
He's been a good insertion and has delivered here for the Spin Doctors.
Captain off the block in the point. Actually, now that we saw that reel, as we see this replay, feeling ko dun na kaya pinapahinga si Mark yung yung ostrich niya, inikot niya yung elbow niya. Siguro na-extend ng onti, kaya may suot na elbow pad. Na-stretch yung...
Na-stretch ng sobra.
Pero creative din nun, no?
They really took the time, yung effort para sa kanilang mga costumes.
That one is an ace. SAVOUGE defenders caught flat-footed, and it's now a 3-point lead for Crisscross. Another one back-to-back. Aces para kay Noel Captain. And Coach Sidney Calderon will call her final timeout. Four-point lead for Crisscross, which is why SAVOUGE Aesthetics had to call a timeout to break the dry spell. But thanks to this man, Noel Captain, lumalayo ang King Crunchers dito sa set 3 in hopes of winning in straight sets. This time they pick it up. Caritativo is rejected though by the combo of Villados and Malabunga. And another ace for Noel Captain. Tatlo na dito sa set 3 for Noel.
Trying to seal this set again for the King Crunchers. They have an unblemished record. No loss yet. And they want a strong win today. Alam mo, not impossible for the Spin Doctors to still catch up, but it will be a tough task.
Mahirap na. 6-point lead at this point of the set and match that they're down by 2 sets. They are feeling the pressure, but Dan Nicolas continues to play his best.
He is one of the bright spots right now for the Spin Doctors.
Only had 1 point in their win against VNS, or rather UST Game Fill, wherein he played 4 sets. And there you go, nakakuha pa ng service ace. How many points does he have now?
Nicolas with 7 points.
There you go. His best, I think, here in the Spikers turf.
Oh, a good one again. And you see the frustration on the side of Crisscross.
So 8 points already for Dan Nicolas. At yung 6 points na lamang kanina, it's now down to 3. Timeout for Crisscross.
May sapat sa iso. One receive. Yun lang kulang. Okay lang yan. Let's go. Let's go.
Cover lang.
Kaya, happy ha.
Side out lang, one time.
Dito ha. Hindi tuwa din ha. Good.
Timeout called by Coach Tai as his team are still up by 3 points actually, but SAVOUGE Aesthetics threatening to get back in the game quickly. Off the block. Did that catch the line? It did.
We did say that it's not impossible, but it will be a tough task.
Yeah.
But the Spin Doctors taking on that task and actually doing well.
4 straight points for the Spin Doctors. Kaya naman, pinasok na ni Coach Tai si Mark the Ostrich Espejo.
Yun na yung bago niyang ano.
Tignan natin.
Oo.
1-2 for Villados. Catching the opponents off guard.
Had to find a way. They've struggled in that last 4 points scored by the Spin Doctors. You have to catch the defense off guard.
Papawi si Imperial for a 1-2. A gutsy move, but that one just catches the net on the attempt.
No room for errors here for the Spin Doctors.
That's going to be a point for the Spin Doctors. Down by only 3. But do they have enough left in their tank to prevent Crisscross here? Set back. Espejo with the offhand. Play continues. Buhay pa. Oh, SAVOUGE not letting up. What does Crisscross have to do? Still nothing. Pepito with the underhand set to Espejo, and finally it drops.
This brings the King Crunchers just 1 point away from winning this match.
Yeah, Crisscross now at match point. Serving for the match is their setter, Adrian Villados. Calado saves one. 3 more to go needed by the Spin Doctors. And we saw them go on a 6-0 run. Espejo will try to go for the finisher. No. Adao with the underhand set to Calado. Back to back. Still alive. Down by only 2 points.
And they have to hold on to this third set. Again, no room for errors. They need to consistently score the points. And they have to be ready defensively.
Espejo! There you go. That is the finisher, and the Crisscross King Crunchers will win their 4th straight in our 2025 Spikers Turf Invitational Conference, still undefeated. And they beat the SAVOUGE Aesthetics Spin Doctors in straight sets. Look at that.
There was a good run by the Spin Doctors, but again, might have been too late already here in set number 3. And, you know, for the King Crunchers, they also had to make some changes in the lineup to find that bright spot that can help them seal that third set.
We saw the fight from SAVOUGE Aesthetics Spin Doctors. Dan Nicolas led that one towards the end of set 3, but just coming up short. We'll talk about the final numbers and see the highlights after the break.
Welcome back. We're still live here inside the Paco Arena in Manila for the Spikers Turf Invitational Conference 2025. And beside me is our best player of the game, Noel Campton. Congratulations, Noel, of the Crisscross King Crunchers, handing the SAVOUGE Aesthetic Spin Doctors their loss in 3 sets. Noel, you've outdone them 12 points off 7 attacks, 2 blocks, and 3 aces. And kanina, we were talking about, you know, this match and how you are familiar with some of the players. But overall, what are your overall thoughts with this match?
First of all, I'm happy that we won the game because just like I told you na during my Lasal days, yung last year na Spikers Turf, it's between SAVOUGE versus DLSU. Whoever wins the match, yun yung papasok sa final. Sadly, natalo kami ng SAVOUGE. And ito ngayon, I'm so happy kasi nanalo kami. And of course, walang na-injured talaga sa mga kalaban namin. Yun naman ang importante. So, sobrang happy lang ako. But feeling ko may kulang pa talaga. Alam mo yung mga nangyayari sa games namin, nakakalamang kami, but nahahabol kami. I mean, konting polish pa talaga.
Yeah. Noel, you are the only unbeaten team here in the conference so far. Ano yung takeaways mo from this game moving forward to your next games?
Just prepare every time, every game lang talaga, and respect the opponent kasi like Coach Tai said, just like Coach Tai told us na lahat ng teams dito is malalakas talaga. And yun nga yung pangit eh. Ako for me, yes, maganda na wala kaming talo, but I mean, pressure yun na parang walang talo. Tapos pagdating ng semis or finals, dun yung, alam mo yung, you know what I mean. Ayoko na lang sabihin. So yun lang, konting disiplina pa talaga. Yeah.
Thank you so much, and again, congratulations, our best player of the game, Noel Campton.
Hi sa baby ko, tsaka sa wife ko.
Back to you, Anandip.
Thanks, Denise. There you go, Noel Campton, player of the game, and always interesting to hear his thoughts, whether it's about the game or life. Maraming na nakukuha ang wisdom from Noel. Nag-shoutout pa nga sa kanyang baby at wife. But well-deserved. I mean, he had those 3 aces in set 3. Crucial for Crisscross because at the start, we saw how SAVOUGE was threatening na pahabain pa yung laro, di ba? But those aces, as we see one of them here for Noel Campton. That brought them ultimately the win here.
And I think these are the crucial parts in a game that really turns things around. That was it for the King Crunchers. But you know, hearing him that interview, despite the fact that they remain undefeated, they still aren't happy, with the performance. And I think he pointed out how sometimes you peak this early. Ayaw nila nung ganon. And so there's a lot of polishing that has to be done. And I think for all of the teams who are playing right now, a lot of learning still as we look at the numbers for that last set. Very, very close, Dip. You look at the different skill departments, pantay na pantay lang. Just 1 point difference. I think if there's any for the Spin Doctors, one of the things that they managed to do was just lower down the number of errors that they commit. But again, just not enough to surpass the firepower of the King Crunchers.
Yeah, finally, nagawa nila yun. So that's something that they could look back at when they move forward to their next game na, hey, in set 3, we actually did what we wanted to do there and almost got that set against CRISS. Up next, we have the Signal Super Spikers going up against the PGJC Navy Sea Lions for our second match of your Wednesday doubleheader. But that does it for us now. As we mentioned, CRISS staying undefeated, 4 wins, no losses, as they beat their opponents, the SAVOUGE Aesthetic Spin Doctors. On behalf of our courtside reporter, Denise Valdesancho, my partner, Anne Remulla Canta, my name is Dip Bianco, saying thank you for watching.